Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis. Now this is a combined video for the 21st and 22nd of June 2024. Now let's quickly proceed and have a look at the pointers of discussion for the day. So first of all, we have the editorial segment, and here we talk about an Indian Express article. The title of this article is Post Office Act 2023, it comes into force. So here is what it says. Essentially, we'll understand some of the key provisions of this particular law. Secondly, we talk about the news updates for both days, and this is going to be followed by the last segment of legal news. So without further ado, let's start with the article discussion and let's first have a look at the context of it. So please understand the current law of 2023, it came into force on 18th of June and it had been passed by the Rajya Sabha last year on 4th of December, while the Lok Sabha, it passed this particular bill on 18th of December. The Indian government, it has decided to abolish the earlier act, which is called the Indian Post Office Act, and this is quite old. It goes back to 125 years ago. So this is the Act of 1898. This law currently, it gives the government the power to intercept, to open or hold any item which is sent through the postal system and deliver it to the customs officials. Now let's understand the aspect of interception by the post officers. So let's first have a look at the statement of object and purpose of this current law of 2023. So this act, it came in to consolidate and to amend the law which is related to the post office in India. Over time, India's postal network, it has evolved to provide various citizen services beyond traditional mail delivery. This act, it states that the post office network today, it has become a vehicle for delivery of different citizen-centric services, which necessitated the repeal enactment of a new law. So notably, there is a section in this particular act, which is section 9. It allows the center to, by virtue of a notification, empower any officer to intercept, open, or detain any item in the interest of state security, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, emergency, public safety, or contravention of other laws. This provision also allows post officers to hand over postal items to customs authorities if they are suspected to contain any prohibited item or if such items are liable to duty. Similarly, Section 19, subsection 1 of the old Act, it prohibited sending explosives, dangerous substances, any sharp object without protection, harmful living creatures, or items likely to harm postal services or personnel. Section 25 and 26 of the earlier Act allowed the government and its officials to intercept prohibited or restricted items during postal transmission or any item which is deemed necessary for public safety or during the period of, let's say, the enactment of any emergencies. The Law Commission noted in 1968 that the Act's vague definition of the term emergency, it granted officials wide discretion in intercepting goods. Now let's talk about the fact that police of the post office it is exempted from liability. So besides the provisions that we just saw with respect to interception, Section 10 of the Act, it prompts the post office and its officers it exempts the post office and its officers from liability for losses, for missed deliveries, delays, or damages caused during postal services unless specified otherwise. Moreover, the new Act, it removes all penalties and offenses from the 1968 Act, including misconduct, fraud, and theft by post office officials. However, charges for post office services must still be paid. If someone refuses or neglects to pay, the amount can be recovered from them as if it were overdue land revenue. Now let's talk about the fact that the Act, it removes center's exclusivity. So the new law of 2023, it has removed Section 4 of the old Act, which allowed the center the exclusive privilege of conveying by post from one place to another all letters. So the exclusivity of postal services began to diminish in the 1980s due to the emergence of private courier companies. Now, these companies, they avoided the regulation of the Post Office Act of 1898 and the Indian Post Office Rules of 1933 by labeling their deliveries as documents or parcels instead of letters. Why? Because the term letter was never implicitly defined in these laws. The Act, for the first time, regulates private courier services and extends its authority to intercept and detain all postal articles, not just letters, despite acknowledging the loss of exclusivity. Several members of the opposition strongly criticized the bill in the parliament with the argument that despite its promise to modernize the old colonial law, it retains its harshest and most severe provisions. The harshest and the most severe provisions, I'm sorry. So despite the claim that, this is an attempt to modernize the old colonial law, the current law, it retains the harshest and the most severe provisions. This is the claim of the opposition. Now, to cite a particular, contention, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, he criticized the government for introducing legislation that claims to modernize colonial laws, but often introduces arbitrary and unfair provisions. He argued that despite the revision of a colonial bill, the new legislation retains draconian elements and fails to hold in the India Post accountable as it should. Mr. Tharoor, he further stated and expressed disappointment over the lack of creative ideas to modernize post offices to meet current standards. And with this, we proceed to the national news category for the day. So now in the national news category, the first update is in the category of science and tech or science and space. So Dhruva Space's Thybolt satellite complete 15,000 orbits. Dhruva Space's maiden, that is to say the very first satellite mission, which comprises Thybolt 1 and 2 satellites, they've deorbited after a combined 15,000 orbits. The mission was launched on 26th of November 2022 on board ISRO PSLV C-54. Chirag Paswan and Ravneet Singh launch website and mobile app for World Food India 2024. Union Minister of Food Processing Industries Chirag Paswan and his Minister of States Ravneet Singh, they've launched the website and mobile application for World Food India 2024. This was an introduction to the third edition of the World Food India. Paswan, he said that the ministry is organizing World Food India, the country's biggest food event, from September 19th to 22nd of September this year to encourage cooperation among global and Indian food sector stakeholders. Wildlife filmmaker Subbiah Nallamuthu, honored with he's been honored with the Shantaram Lifetime Achievement Award at the Mumbai International Film Festival. So renowned and very popular wildlife filmmaker Subbiah Nallamuthu, he was honored with the Shantaram Lifetime Achievement Award during the 18th edition of the Mumbai International Film Festival. He has won many awards, including 5 National Film Awards. He has also served in juries for movie festivals and has chaired the Indian Panorama jury at the IFFI 2021. India has become the third largest domestic airline market globally. India, it has risen to become the world's third largest domestic airline market, moving up from 5th place over the past decade. This was reported by the official Airline Guide, which is a major travel industry data platform. The data suggested India's capacity growth rate of seats over a 10-year average. It is the highest among the top 5 countries. The Asian Development Bank approves a $170 million loan to strengthen health system in India. The Asian Development Bank, it has sanctioned a $170 million policy-based loan to enhance India's readiness and its capability in the health sector to address future pandemics. This policy, it aims to ensure universal access to high-quality healthcare services across the country. Honoring visionaries, leaders transforming their fields. The Visionaries, it aims to honor with its marquee recognition of the brightest and the most innovative marketing minds in the country. BizPulse Media, it is unveiled its Biz Story Top Impactful People list. This list, it honors 10 individuals who are leading significant changes in their niche areas. So some of the pioneers in social change, these are as follows. So we have Chirag Mawani, he fortifies cybersecurity. Then we have Shailesh Gaur, he empowers financial literacy, followed by Vaibhav Malu, who innovates digital marketing. And at the fifth place, we have Hiren Kumar Mistry, he bridges the digital divide. Lieutenant General N.S. Raja Subramani, next Vice Chief of the Army Staff. Lieutenant General N.S. Raja Subramani is going to assume the role of the next Vice Chief of Army Staff, succeeding Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi. Presently, he is in command of the Army's Central Command. RBI grants payment aggregator license to Subbiah. Subbiah, it is a payment solution provider. It has received final approval from RBI to function as a payment aggregator under the Payments and Settlement Systems Act of 2007. Next update is with respect to the appointment of Pro-tem Speaker for Lok Sabha. So BJP MP Bhartruhari Mahtab, he is made the Pro-tem Speaker for Lok Sabha. President of India Draupadi Murmu has appointed 7-term MP from Odisha Bhartruhari Mahtab as the Pro-tem Speaker of Lok Sabha. The decision triggered a political controversy because the Congress opposed it, citing it as an unconventional move. Mahtab, he resigned from the BJD and received a BJP ticket in the recent Lok Sabha elections from Cuttack in Odisha. He previously represented the constituency 6 times for Biju Janata Dal, which is the BJD, and is now contesting for the 7th time under the BJP banner. Now, this has brought us to the important days for the day, and the first update is with respect to 20th of June. This is World Refugee Day. So the World Refugee Day, it is annually celebrated on 20th of June. This day, it is dedicated to those who fled their homes due to war, any persecution, or natural disaster, highlighting their situation. The World Refugee Day for 2024, the official theme is Everywhere is Welcome. Everyone is welcome. The theme highlights the need for global unity in supporting refugees. Now let's have a look at the historical context of it. So the World Refugee Day, it initially started regionally with Africa honoring refugees in 1970, following the UN's 1951 definition of refugee rights. It became a global observance in 2000 when the UN General Assembly designated June 20th as the World Refugee Day in recognition of the global refugee crisis. Now we come to 21st of June. So the first day with respect to that is the International Yoga Day. This year marks the 10th edition of the International Yoga Day, focusing on the theme Yoga for Self and for Society. The International Day of Yoga, it aims to raise awareness worldwide of the several benefits of practicing yoga. The United Nations acknowledged its global appeal and declared June 21st as the International Day of Yoga, and this happened back in 2014 on 11th of December. Now, the next update is with respect to World Hydrography Day. So, hydrography, it is the science of measuring and describing the physical features of the oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, and other water bodies. So, World Hydrography Day, it is celebrated annually on 21st of June, and this is done to raise awareness of the importance of hydrography and the work of hydrographers. The theme for the last year was hydrography underpinning the digital twin of the ocean. Now, with this, we come to the international segment, and the first update is this one. Jaishankar, he unveils Maritime Rescue Coordination Center in Sri Lanka. As Jaishankar, he met the Sri Lankan president and inaugurated the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center, which is funded by India with $6 million grant. They unveiled a virtual plaque to officially open the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center in Sri Lanka. Next update is from Russia. The Russian president inks a deal with his Vietnamese counterpart to bid to shore up ties in Asia. The Russian president has signed an agreement with his Vietnamese counterpart during a state visit which is aimed at strengthening Russia's relations in Asia amid increasing international isolation due to its actions and the current conflict that it has with Ukraine. The two entities the presidents signed agreements to further cooperation on education, science and technology, oil and gas exploration, and health sector. They also agreed to have a cooperation to work on a roadmap for a nuclear science and technology center in Vietnam. Now, this has brought us to the legal news segment for the day, and the first update is Supreme Court's update. Is revision under Section 397 CRPC maintainable against default bail order? The Supreme Court to consider. So the Supreme Court is set to consider an important question of law, which is whether a revision under Section 397 of the CRPC, it would be maintainable against an order granting default bail to the accused under Section 167 subsection 2 of the CRPC. The Delhi High Court reviewed and upheld the principal district and session judge's decision to deny default bail to the accused, and this came after the magistrate's initial decision to grant bail, which was contested and further overruled. Now here, the accused contended that the order granting default bail, it is interlocutory and it is not subject to revision under Section 397 of the CRPC. And the prosecution contended, on the other hand, that the bail order, it is final and thus can be revised, opposing the accused's interpretation. So the name of this particular matter is Amarjit Singh Dhillon versus the State and City of Delhi. Irretrievable breakdown of marriage, it is not a ground for granting divorce under Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act. This update has come from the Telangana High Court. So the Telangana High Court has held that even though there is no possibility of two individuals who are living together and there is an irretrievable breakdown of marriage, then also divorce cannot be granted under Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act, citing the said reason. However, the said aspect can be considered while coming to a conclusion with regard to the allegation of cruelty. So the bench noted that although the parties in this particular current case, they have been, in an irretrievably broken down marriage for the last 17 long years, until the ground as mentioned under Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act was proved, divorce cannot be granted. Next up is an update from Karnataka High Court. So the Karnataka High Court has recently held that a foreign national cannot execute a special power of attorney sitting elsewhere in the globe, or to say elsewhere in the world, for the purpose of filing a writ petition invoking Article 226 of the Indian Constitution before any courts in India. The name of this particular matter is Sagad Karim, Ismail and versus Union of India and others. Patna High Court sets aside Bihar law which increased reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes communities up to 65%. The Patna High Court has set aside the Bihar reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes Amendment Act of 2023 and the Bihar in Admission in Educational Institutions Reservation Amendment Act of 2023. A division bench of the High Court, it was reviewing a PIL that questioned a change which was made by the Bihar legislature. This change aimed to raise the reservation quota for backward classes, extremely backward classes, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes from 50% to 65%. The High Court set aside the amendments as ultra-vires the Constitution and being violative of the principle of equality which is enshrined in the Indian Constitution. The name of this particular matter is Gaurav Kumar and others versus the state of Bihar. So this has brought us to an end of our DNA. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day ahead.